Welcome to today's talk session. My name is Deidre Moss, and I'm the host of Can We Talk? I'm an educator, motivator, and a talk connoisseur. October is Blindness Awareness Month, and we dedicated our session today to talk about blindness awareness and other related topics. Today, we will collaborate with the Bahamas Alliance for the Blind and Visually Impaired. And so at this time, I will pass the virtual mic to our guests so that they can introduce themselves. So I'll start with Mr. Charlton first, and I'll go around. So go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having us, Deidre. My name is Dario Charlton. I am a director with responsibility for public relations and branding at the Bahamas Alliance for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Thank you. That was short and sweet. So I'll go to Desmond Brown, Jermaine Brown, and then lastly go to Natalie Russell.
Good evening. I am Desmond Brown, and I am the president of this Bahamas Alliance for the Blind and Visually Impaired. It's great being here during this time as we celebrate Blindness Awareness Month here in the Bahamas.
Good day, Bahamas. My name is Jermaine Brown. I am the first vice president of the Bahamas Alliance for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Also a privilege to be here with you and Ms. Deidre Moss. Look forward to today's conversation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Natalie Russell. I'm serving as second vice president for the Bahamas Alliance for the Blind and Visually Impaired with the responsibility of education, which will help to empower our members. I am elated to be here this evening.
Thank you for those introductions, and it's so good to have you all here today. Thank you for introducing yourselves. So before we begin, if you just joined us, like and share this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links on our page. We need your support to continue these talks. Also, if there's something that you think we should be talking about, feel free to let us know. We want to hear from you. Let us know if you want to advertise on our platform or also sponsor our program. We want to grow. So thank you so much for joining us today. And again, thank you for those introductions. So with that, we will get into our talk. And so we'll begin. And so I want us to just tell us a little bit about the Alliance, BAVI. And so I'll start with you, Mr. Charlton, and I'll go around the group.
If I may, I want to yield the floor to Mr. President first. I can go after.
That's fine.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great being here. The Bahamas Alliance for the Blind and Visually Impaired is a non-government, non-profit advocacy organization which was established in 1997, some 25 years ago. And the mission of the organization is to effectively promote measures for the preservation of sight, for education, for training, rehabilitation, employment. And it continues by saying to look out for the welfare of persons who are blind and visually impaired in the Bahamas. So that's our mandate as an organization, to try to do all that we can to preserve sight, to encourage education and training, rehabilitation, and housing, and the other things that challenge us as persons who are blind and visually impaired. As I said, we're around since 1997, 25 years ago.
Yes, our organization itself has, as any others, had its challenges over the years. However, we are forever grateful, and we are also motivated by the small yet steady changes in public policy and our awareness opportunities. We would like to reach as many individuals within our community who may be living with blindness and visual impairment, to provide them with the tools that they may need in order to function as normal citizens, productive citizens within our country, and to be able to understand that we can socialize and still live a normal life while walking this journey in visual challenges.
Thank you for sharing. I'll go to Jermaine if he wants to add, and then come to Ms. Russell.
Well, I would just like to say I've not been a member I've recently joined the organization since 2018. And from I came to the organization, I've been taught so many things, so many useful things. And I appreciate the work that they're doing. That's why I continuously work with the organization. That's why I've been given the status that I have right now, because of the many wondrous things that we are able and capable of doing in terms of education, in terms of being able to just walk the streets. And it has been so impactful in my life. It also brought me back to my confidence level that I had before I lost my sight. So I really have a lot to be thankful for the Bahamas Alliance for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
You're welcome.
Okay, jump in, Ms. Natalie.
I would like to add that I am relatively new as well. I joined in 2019. And since joining, it has been an output for me, because coming from a person that has been actively working and a part of different or nonprofit organizations, the Alliance has given me the support and the family that I need. And it also gives me an output to share my experiences and to apply the things that I know to the help of the uplifting and the building of the community, which in turn will impact not only me, but those who are like ourselves, visually challenged in some way. So the organization is not just building a self haven, but it's building up young people and adults and empowering them for a future of success and knowing that they are not disabled but differently able.
Thank you. And I love that you mentioned that the organization really helps to reiterate that you can continue to live a normal life despite being blind or visually impaired. And I love that you shared that. And so I want to talk about the theme for Blindness Awareness Month. So I'll go to the president first and then come to our other members as well.
Yes. Our theme for this year, and it's not Balby's theme, so to speak, it's an international theme. And it was the theme last year for International World Sight Day, which is the second Thursday in every October. Every October, second Thursday is International World Sight Day. And each year they publish a theme. And this year the theme, as well as last year, Love Your Eyes. Love Your Eyes. And we grabbed this and carrying it because it fits into our mission as an organization and also our objectives for Blindness Awareness Month, where a big part of our thrust is to try to reach others, to let people know that their eyes are most wonderful and they need to take care of their eyes, read their sight. Too many persons are becoming blind. In fact, the World Health Organization says that anywhere between 75 to 80% of all persons worldwide who go blind could have been avoided. And so, and it's the same thing here in the Bahamas. So love your eyes is important to us. We are blind and we do not want others to become blind because we know the challenges that we are facing in living with blindness. So the message is do all that you can to take care of our eyes or sight, because if you lose it, you may not get it back, and it is a big struggle being blind.
Thank you, Mr. Charlton.
Yes, love your eyes means so many different things to different people. And I took it quite literally to understand not just loving your physical eyes, but those that are within our community. We tend to lean on others who become our surrogate eyes. Some of us lean on our spouses, some of us lean on our children, our parents, our siblings, and we take this opportunity to show them gratitude, to pay them homage, to identify just how valuable they've always been to us, but even more so in our new journey. And some of them, not only helping us to be guided, but also allowing us an opportunity to be independent as well, because it becomes so easy and second nature that when you love someone, if they are having a challenge with certain things, you want to help first and foremost. But for a lot of people that are walking our journey, our independence becomes very important to us. And so we want to say thank you and that we love you to all of those individuals who become surrogate eyes to each and every one of us.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, talking about the impact that it can have on family members, on loved ones as well. Thank you for sharing that. I want to move us into eye care, because we talk a lot about losing vision and why the importance of us taking better care of our eyes. And so I want to come to Ms. Russell and talk about, eye care. Why should we take better care of our eyes?
Thank you, Ms. Moss. We should take better care of our eyes because not only is it a necessity, but it plays a very vital part in our lifestyle. Eye care does not just mean, wash your face, don't rub your eyes, but it means pay attention to those details. As you may can see today, my eye is running water. It's because, it's dry and they have a little pressure. But when you notice changes, don't hesitate to get examinations. When you experience headaches, when your children complain about headaches, don't dismiss it as that they're just lazy and they don't want to do their homework. Look into it. There may be something wrong and they cannot voice what is happening. Get them tested. Get yourself tested. Take good care of your health, because the eyes is the windows to the soul. And when something goes wrong, the eyes, it's a statement to the rest of the body that something is wrong. And so if we take care of our bodies, we can take care of our eyes. Eye care is important because it is what we need to build our lives. It's what we need to go there and provide for our families. It's what we use for stability. So we just want to use this opportunity to encourage people not to take anything for granted, not to dismiss any changes that you may be experiencing. Follow your doctor's orders. Take medications on time. If advised to change your eating habits, do so. Because at the end of the day, your health attracts or affects your eye. And so taking care of your eye is not only a necessity, it's a lifestyle. It's important to the stability of life.
Thank you, Ms. Russell, for mentioning that and talking about, those symptoms that people may sometimes have that they may take for granted. Just so simple things as headaches and the different things that you mentioned, to take something seriously and really investigate, why am I experiencing these constant symptoms? So thank you for mentioning that. I want to go to Mr. Jermaine as well, about talking about eye care. Why is it important for us to take care of our eyes and how easy it is for us to lose our vision?
I'll start off by saying that.
I'm sorry, Jermaine.
Sorry, I'll start off by saying this. I am a product of not loving your eyes to the point where I shut up. I am a product of a person who ignored the signs, who didn't take my medication, who did not eat the way I should. And my advice to the society at large is to follow the signs. You know your bodies. Nobody can tell you what's going on in your body, but stay focused on any changes that may come about. Even the slightest change with any type of vision, anything, is reason for you to inquire about it. Even if it's just a simple visual screening at a clinic, and the ophthalmic nurses that we have in country now, they are well informed and they can prepare you, they can let you know exactly what is your next step. So feel free to reach out to the Bahamas Society of Ophthalmic Nurses and any of our clinics, or even at the main clinic on Soldier Road, but any type of blurriness, any type of watery eye, any type of dry eye, because it could be signs of anything. I would say do not allow yourself to get where we are right now. That's my best advice.
Amen.
Thank you for that advice. Thank you so much. I want to mention Takara. I think it's Takara's in the comments. She's cheering you on, Dario. Thank you so much, Takara, for joining us. Miss Lightone, I hope I got your name right. But thank you
Yes,
for
you
joining
did.
us.
Awesome.
Hmm?
I said
I
you
got it
you
right?
got the name right. Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Takara, for joining us. So I want to take and it's important that you talk about eye care. I don't think we really hit on it as much as sometimes we take it for granted. We take our vision for granted, and it's a simple things. Having a headache, who would think that, just having a headache could lead to something else, and lead to vision impairment. And so I'm glad that you're here today to mention the importance of eye care and mention and talk about those symptoms that can lead to potentially something else greater. So I want to thank you for mentioning that. And so I want us to go to awareness of the blind and visually impaired community. And so I'm going to get input from all of you. And I'm going to start with you, Desmond. If you can, share some insight as it pertains to the community, awareness of the blind and visually impaired community within our country.
Yes, Deidre. But quickly, I want to mention sometimes we get really careless with our eyes, even cutting the lawn and stuff like that. We see people cutting lawn every day and sparks flying all over the place and we are not wearing any protective gear. So I just quickly want to state the persons who do those type of work, please wear protective gears to protect your eyes, because one spark can cause you to go blind. So I just want to say quickly that awareness. DJ, let me say, I'm happy to say that the awareness is getting a little better here in the Bahamas. It's moving slowly, but I think programs like this and the activities of this organization and other organizations over the years, people are beginning to see the light. People are beginning to understand that persons who are blind and visually impaired are in society and can and are playing a great role in nation building, in community building. And so the awareness is getting better, but it's still, there's a lot of stigma out there when it comes on to the blind and visual impaired. A lot of people, when they see a blind person, they think, oh, he or she only wants to beg. No, that's not the case. There are few of us who still do that, but persons who are blind and visually impaired want to contribute to their personal development and to the development of the nation. So don't look at us as always wanting. We want to contribute. But for us to contribute, you have to give us an opportunity. You have to give us a chance. We have to get the education, the training, the rehabilitation, and the housing, the employment. All of those things are important to us, which in many cases are not right now. But it is getting better. People are understanding more and more that, hey, blind and visually impaired person given the opportunity with the proper training and tool can really perform at a high level and even sometimes higher than the quote unquote sighted or able-bodied person.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. Go ahead, Mr. Charlton.
I said, well said. I just was agreeing.
And what is your input as it pertains to awareness for the blind and visually impaired community?
The awareness for us, and it probably stems to anyone that may have an opportunity to listen to our voices or listen to awareness campaigns prior to having visual challenges. But once you're within our community, we need people to understand that it still is very important to take care of your eyes, even though you may not be able to see. It still is very important to go and get those checkups, because things that may be happening with your eye can speak to challenges that you may end up having with other things within your body, or can be a flag or a sign that you may not be taking care of your diabetes in the way you should. You may not be taking care of your hypertension in the way you should. You can get to a point where you may need an amputation of your eye just because you're not taking the proper care with it. And so the awareness is still very important. It's also important to let those know who may be in our community and they become shut-ins because of the stigma that Mr. President spoke about, because of the lack of opportunities that we all experience. People themselves, they close themselves up and they shut themselves in from society. And we want them to know that, there's no need for that. You should be out, you should be socialized, and you should be in a position where you are tooled, you are rehabilitated to be able to maneuver and live in society. And you should also be given an opportunity to still be productive and still be able to earn a living for yourself and your family. Those things are very important. And that's why awareness among our community is so important. A lot of people in our community, like myself, very young, coming from professional backgrounds, coming from being in a position where you can provide and do more. And when your eyesight is taken away, it's a shell shocker. But there are ways, there are resources to be able to regain that level of independence, that level of self-sufficiency, and an opportunity to continue to do as much as you could have prior to a diagnosis.
Thank you for sharing that and opening up the gates to those persons who, like you said, may be shut in, may have experienced trauma of trying to figure out, okay, their next step, who do they need to reach out to, what do they need to do, and you letting them know that there is a community, there is a group, organization available to them to help them adjust to and transition to life. And so I want to thank you for sharing that.
Pleasure.
And I want to talk about major challenges because you're doing a great work. But we do know that there are challenges that you may face within your community. So I wanted to talk about, some of the challenges that impact the blind and visually impaired community. And I want to go to, I want to start with Ms. Russell first, and then I'll come around to everybody else. Ms. Russell, would you like to talk about, can you share, those challenges?
Ms. Moss, I have found that for me, some of the challenges are employment. I mentioned that I am visually impaired, but I still have my mind, I have my hands, I have my feet, I have my mouth, and I want to work. I'm able to speak, I'm able to do things. I am trained, but it doesn't mean that because I'm no longer visual means that I'm not capable. Education, there are little to no education accessibilities in place for persons like myself who wants to further their education. I think society has put limits on persons with disabilities, and as Mr. President mentioned and Mr. Dario, there are so many stigmas attached to being blind. And one thing I think when raising awareness, we need to mention is the support. Yes, we have our family and yes, we have our friends, but support does not mean that you grab my hand and you pull me or you do everything for me. But support is that you help me in order to help myself. Just as you would train your child to tie their laces or to make a peanut butter and jam sandwich, as someone transitioning from sighted to vision impairment, we already know these things. We just need support and your guidance. And the challenge is mainly inclusivity. We are marginalized, we're pushed to the side, we're counted out. I think once we change all of that, we will have a society that is well versed for helping people with vision loss or any disability to be able to live in society. And so I am personally grateful for organizations such as Toastmasters that started a chapter here in the Bahamas, Bahamas Integrated. It is for persons with disabilities to help them find their voices. The Alliance, who is going into the communities and helping people to remain independent, to find their haven, and to be able to find their strength through community. So the challenges mostly, like I mentioned, is the lack of inclusivity and the stigmas behind not allowing us, I like to say, to be great. We need to open the doorways for employment, for equal rights in education, for equal rights into families, and just break all of the limits, Ms. Moss.
Those are some
Oh,
strong points, Ms. Russell. I'm coming to you, Mr. Charlton. I want to mention those persons in the comments. Thank you, Takara, Takesha. Thank you, Rika, for joining us. And other persons who may be listening in, please add your comments. We definitely want to hear from you. Ms. Russell, you made some strong points as it pertains to education. You are someone who you're interested in furthering your education, but you want to be able to be you want an inclusive environment that will be able to meet your needs as a visually impaired person. And so we have a challenge with that. And then you also talk about the stigma as well, and being grateful for organizations who have opened up and provided avenues for persons disabled, the disabled community within our country, and providing avenues for those persons. And so I want to thank you for sharing that as well. And so these are definitely challenges that we need to consider, and that is why it is so very important to have these discussions so that we can further, figure out where we need to go. And we need to have the discussions with the persons who are impacted, who are being affected, because you know exactly, those challenges that are impacting you. And so I want to come to you, Mr. Charlton. I know you wanted to add to that.
yeah, I mean, I wanted to encourage Natalie because I think that was an amazing contribution just now. I think for me, one of the biggest challenges lie in the fact that our culture is such a rough culture, and we have to be sensitive to those that are around us. And a prime example of that is some of the things that we say to each other when we may see someone who may have a deficiency, and just not understanding how deep that may go. What I mean by that, you would send a child, or you would send a brother or sister and say, hey, can you grab this off the shelf? And they'd be like, oh, I don't see it. They'd be like, what, you blind, eh? And as simple as that is, it is something that can touch someone very deeply, especially someone within our community. And so just being able to sensitize the public on being careful with some of the things that we say. We say it when we say you blind, we say you deaf, we say you feeble. What happened to you? You can't talk. Can you speak? Can you open your mouth? And mind you, those questions aren't bad per se, but it depends on the context in which you're using it and the way in which you're saying it. And then my next biggest challenge, because I'm not going to talk about everything, I'm sure we all experience the same thing, but it's people who believe that blindness is contagious, and mainly in social settings, whether that's among friends or families, you find yourself moving away from being the center of attention to being almost seemingly an outcast. You'd be at a family function or at a class reunion, and 1 minute you're surrounded by people and everybody's talking and engaging, and another minute you're standing there all alone, or you're sitting there all alone, and it's as if people feel you can't have that contribution like you used to, or you're not the same person. But nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. Put us all in a dark room with no lights at night, and we are all equal at that point. And there's no different if we are out in the public and there's light. We are still all equal, just with our own challenges. And so I just want to encourage people to understand that blindness is not contagious. Please treat us as normal people. Help, yes, be a bit more descriptive in the things that you say. Hey, your chair is to your left. Your chicken is on your plate at 9 o'clock. Your rice is at 6 o'clock. Be a bit more descriptive, but allow us the opportunity to lean when necessary, and give us the independence when as much as you can.
Thank you for mentioning that. We certainly can be rough. We do rough each other up. I don't know, that's a cultural thing, but we definitely can be a rough set of people. Mr. Brown, I see that I think that you would like to add. What are your views of the challenges that impact the blind and visually impaired community?
The challenges that impact us start from early. We talked about education. If we are not able to get the education that we need, the education, the training, the domino effect of that is that I'm not going to be able to get the job that I need. Then if I can't get a job, then I can't take care of myself and my family. I can't own a home. I can't do the thing. I can't take a vacation. I can't travel because I do not have the job, the money. So it's a ripple effect. So education and training is important. I think it was yesterday, a young lady told one of our members that they were in one of our institutions and they start having sight problem. And the instructor, they said to her, look, go home, you are seeking too much attention. And those are the type of problems that we are having, because she's having sight problems. She might be asking more questions and asking, no, that go home until such time, because you are asking for too much attention. Now, those type of things in a modern society should not happen. It should not happen. There are ways. Technology now is leveling the playing field for education and everything else in society. And so therefore, their technology, one of the challenges that we face with technology though, many times it's too expensive for us to purchase here in countries like the Bahamas. We talk about North America and Europe. In those places, their governments and other organizations subsidize a lot of these things. So therefore they can get these technology and use the technology in their homes, on their jobs, to get on with life. So the education, training, and those things, transportation is another biggie for blind and visually impaired person.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning those points and speaking to the challenges that impact your community. I want to thank you for sharing that. And so we come to our Fast Talk segment as we wind down and we come to the end of the session. I'm going to take us through our Fast Talk segment where you're given 60 seconds to answer each question. So I'm going to direct a question to each of you. And I'm going to start with Mr. Charlton first. So can you offer one important piece of advice, to protect our eyes or protect our vision?
With diabetes and hypertension being some of the leading causes of blindness within our community, I would offer the advice that people should try their best to maintain proper glycemic control, see your endocrinologist, take your medication, exercise, diet, and can be said the same for both diabetes and hypertension. You have to pay special attention to it. And if you are not tracking it, if you are not watching your numbers, then you're already setting yourself up for failure. So take good care of your diabetes and your hypertension. Very important.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Charlton. Mr. D. Brown, are you satisfied with the level of awareness of society as it pertains to the blind and visually impaired community?
Definitely not. I'm not satisfied, but as I mentioned earlier, it's getting a little better, but I'm not satisfied. Especially Ms. Moss, I'm going to say this and I don't want it to be misunderstood. We find that in the so-called ghetto people understand blindness and blind people more than those who are up there in society. It's amazing how person in the so-called ghetto will treat you. They will treat you normal. They will accept the fact that you can do things. But when we get little higher in society, that's where the blockage comes from. The employers, the educators, there's the government workers and things like that. That's where the blockage takes place.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I come to Mr. J. Brown. What is one thing that you would like to change as pertains to the level of awareness? One thing you want to change as pertains to the level of awareness for the blind and visually impaired community? Okay, so I would direct that question. I don't know if he's there. So I'll come to you, Mr. Charlton. What is one thing you would like to? Oh,
He's there.
Thank you.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would just like to say one thing. I would just like people to place themselves in our shoes. Try blindfolding themselves for 4 hours, not a day, 4 hours, and try to move around in society or even in their homes for 4 hours to get a small understanding of what it is that we face on a daily, every day, all day.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Russell, have you seen good support from our community and governmental leaders for the blind and visually impaired community?
Ms. Moss, society is evolving. In that I mean that it's a work in progress. But as we continue to raise awareness, I see the possibility of it becoming a much recognized and supportive situation with all parties concerned. It must begin with us. You know, we, as most of my fellow colleagues say, end up in a corner or we end up marginalized. But when we raise our awareness, when we fight for our cause, not violently, but verbally, when we put ourselves out there and we make it that you can see us, that we are doing things, then it will help us to be better, and it helps you to be desensitized, as Director Dario said. It will help you to have a better understanding and appreciation. Like Mr. Jermaine Brown said, walk a mile in our shoes. You know, you have people that see you coming and they'll walk right into you. But as we raise the awareness and we continue to find our voices, and we have organizations, like I said, like the Alliance, the Blind Foundation, Kiwanis, Toastmasters, who is helping persons with disabilities to be socially included and to find their voices. The word will get out and everyone would want to support us because we are vital and we have something to say. So yes, ma'am, it's going to be great amongst our government leaders because they will now see that we are a demographic of people who does have a voice and must be heard.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And so I want to bring us to the end of our Fast Talk segment and take us to any additional comments that you would like to add. I would love to give everyone an opportunity to share if you missed anything, to add any commentary. I'll start with you, Dee Brown.
Okay, Deidre, I think we're here this evening because we are now celebrating Blindness Awareness Month. And I just want to urge people to pay attention to the messages that we are putting out there, not only persons out there who need to preserve the sight, but even us as persons who are blind and visually impaired. We need to be responsible. If you are able to get a job, you are able to get some training, make the best use of it, because you're not only doing it for yourself, because when you get that opportunity, when you do well, others will look and say, well, other persons can get the opportunity. But if you play around, not do well, then and that's how the public operate. If a blind person do something, behave a certain way, all blind person behave a certain way. So the responsibility is we must be responsible because we're not only doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for those who are coming along.
Thank you. Jay Brown.
Uh-oh.
Come on.
This phone is ringing.
Yeah, he probably, okay, so I'll come to Ms. Russell.
Well, I would like to say thank you for this opportunity, but I want to leave with the encouragement to persons in the blind and visually impaired community, and by extension, the disabled community, to know that a disability does not mean an inability. It doesn't mean that you are a barrier or you are barred or you are hindrance. It just means that you're differently able. And I encourage you to find your creative way to get whatever you need to be done. Family, friends, loved ones, support your family members. Don't drag them along, just support. Lend a hand and help them to be great. And we want to encourage you to attend our Introduction to Blindness Empowerment and Support Forum that we're having this Thursday, October 27th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. at the New Providence Seventh-day Adventist Church Hall. Our forum is at the brink of closing of Blind Awareness Month, and we were registering people in the mall, and we're asking people that are having challenges with their sight to come out to know that we are a community. And again, we are big on empowerment through training, education, rehabilitation, and to prove to the world and to ourselves that disability is not an inability and that you can be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Russell. Charlton.
Yes, I'm encouraged by so many things, and I am possibly one of the newest to blind and visually impaired community. My story runs really deep. As you know, I am a young father. I'm a young man, and my visual impairment has taken away so much. But I am firm in understanding that this must be God's plan, and so I seeked the opportunity to connect with Babvi and be able to take the skills and abilities that I've learned throughout the years, through my schooling, throughout my career, to lend it back to our community, to be able to strengthen and empower those individuals that may be walking with blindness or visual impairment, to help those to understand that there are resources and there are people who understand firsthand what it is that they go through, and we are willing to help, but also to be a bold voice in saying to people, man, it's not fair to someone you love, someone you know, someone you have been a friend to, a colleague to, for you to just treat them as if they have become a leper since they are having challenges with vision. That in and of itself is more impactful in a negative way to us than anything else. You can hit me with a stick, you can throw a rock at me, you can use foul language towards me, and it doesn't hurt as much as having a friend who you've known all your life who just stops calling you, who stops coming around, who you can't seem to get in touch with. It hurts deeper than a girlfriend leaving you after many years, to have a family member block you on WhatsApp, or a family member who doesn't even look your way. And not in a sense to say that you're asking for something that you need, something tangible, but a simple hello for us goes a very long way. And so I just want to sensitize people to understand that we are still human. So please treat us as such.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Charlton, for sharing that. Very important. I see Ms. J. Brown, you're back.
Yes, ma'am.
Any final thoughts before we end our session today?
Yes, my colleagues have said so much and they've touched on so many things, but I have seen on my daily travels throughout my blindness, even though I don't go anywhere without my white cane, and most times I have a sighted guide, someone who I'm holding on them, using them as my eyes, my surrogate eyes at the moment, that in almost every time that I go, there is not a time that someone doesn't walk directly into me, like literally directly into me. And I'm asked on several occasions if I can't. Yes, I can see, is my answer. But people don't know how that is and how what type of effect that has on people like myself, that I can't see you, but you have your eyes and you're literally walking into me face on. But I'll say this, Ms. Moss, given the opportunity, any person with a different ability will give you more in terms of work than anybody else, because their drive and their push is going to be stronger. They're going to work harder to make sure that people know that they have not made a wrong decision in choosing them. So just give us an opportunity through education, through job opportunities, through just being able to, if you walk up to almost any person with a different ability and just speak to them, you will hear that the stigma that you may have thought was on us is way, way out of the park compared to the things that you will hear some of us say. So just give us an opportunity. That's it.
Ms. Moss, can we put it, plug in our telephone number and email addresses?
Sure.
Yes, if you want to reach us, the organization number is 802-2284. That's 802-2284. Or you can email us at info@bavbi, that's BABBI.org, info@bavbi.org, or bavbi.101@gmail.com. That's bavbi.101@gmail.com.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that information. If you want to reach Bobby, and if you're, like Mr. Charlton mentioned, persons who are being impacted, you're blind and visually impaired, you want to be a part of a community of persons who are actively involved and actively living their lives, please reach out to Bobby. I want to thank all of our members for joining us today: Desmond Brown, Jermaine Brown, Daryl Charlton, Natalie Russell. I want to thank all of you for joining us in this session today and sharing and giving your insight as it pertains to blindness, the blind and visually impaired, and sharing with us so much information that is very, very valuable and what impacts you and your challenges. So I want to thank you for giving us your time today. I want to thank our viewers for listening to our talk. I would like to thank all of our guests. I would like to thank our viewers for listening in. Like our page for future notifications, comment under our videos, let us know your thoughts, and let us know what you want us to talk about. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Can We Talk? Follow us on our other social platforms that we have listed on our page. And remember, let's think, talk, do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.